My best friend who led me on many years ago just proposed to me despite the fact my actual wedding is 1 month away. Why am I considering it? When I, 26F, met my current best friend Trevor, 40M, 5 years ago I was immediately infatuated with him. Him and I spoke quite a bit. We went out on a few dates and I thought he felt the same way about me. But one day directly after we had intimacy he dropped a bomb on me where he basically told me he never felt anything for me other than friendship and doesn't want to lead me on anymore. I played it cool and pretended that I too only wanted friendship and he laughed and said great, glad we're on the same page. In reality I was bitter and spiteful at first, but eventually I got over it and Trevor and I became best friends. I moved on and started using my coworker named Burke, 43M, who really liked me as a rebound. When he asked me out to dinner I said yes. To my surprise I had a good time, and we kept hanging out afterwards. I somehow developed feelings for him and apparently he also had feelings for me, and one evening after a Game of Thrones marathon we ended up having intimacy. Burke and I slept together for a few months and we weren't sure if our feelings were because of the intimacy that was so good it made me cry once or if we really did like one another, so we stopped with the intimacy and the feelings never left so we just decided to start dating. And it's been pretty great ever since. We have had minimal problems and the ones we have had were easily resolved. Burke and I have been together for 3 years and are getting married in a month. Because we all used to work together, Burke and Trevor have grown a bit closer since Burke and I got together, and Trevor is even going to be one of Burke's groomsmen in the wedding. I have had suspicions about Trevor for a while now and I've had a feeling he was into me for a while now. Well, my suspicions were confronted last night. Trevor and I went out for a walk and before we parted ways he dropped the bombshell that he's in love with me. He told me that back then when we first met he didn't feel it at the time, but as I've gotten older and matured he suddenly realized that he made a mistake and he thinks we are compatible and that I became the kind of woman he wants to date. But when he realized this, Burke and I announced our relationship to the world. I told Trevor that this was the worst timing. I can't believe he did this to me. I'm getting married in a month and that this is totally messed up. He told me he's sorry but he had to let his feelings be known now before I get married. He said he also hopes that some part of me still wants him, and then he told me to take some time to process this and let him know my decision later on in the week. He ended up taking a ring off his finger and giving it to me, before telling me this can be his proposal ring. He then walked off before I had a chance to give it back. Thing is, I have to tell my soon-to-be husband but I don't know when or how. Like, when he comes home from work do I just blurt it out? Do I do it over supper? Why am I considering it?